Prokaryotes and Eukaryotes. Based on the structure of nucleus, we can divide the cells into two broad categories, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes. Pro means primitive, karyon means nucleus. So prokaryotes are the primitive organisms which lack a definite, well-structured nucleus. The prokaryotes are organisms made up of cells that lack a cell nucleus. In these structures, there are no membrane encased organelles, no membrane bound organelles. Membrane enclosed or membrane bound organelles cannot be seen in prokaryotic cells. Example, mitochondria, nucleus. These kind of structures cannot be seen inside a prokaryotic cell. The genetic material DNA in prokaryotic is not bound within a nucleus. There are no particular structure called nucleus inside prokaryotic cell. So the genetic material can be seen in a structure near about the center. There are no nuclear membrane, but only nuclear material is available. That nuclear material is known as nucleoid. DNA is less structured and it is known as nucleoid. So we cannot find a well-defined nucleus. Instead, we can find a structure known as nucleoid. DNA is a single loop. It is circular in nature. It is a single loop structure. Example for prokaryotic cells, E. coli, Escherichia coli and Salmonella both are examples of bacteria. Here you can see instead of a well-defined nucleus, a nuclear portion, nuclear region known as nucleoid can be seen. And the cell which lacks well membrane bounded organelles. Now, what are the other characteristics of prokaryotic cell? What are the other things that can be seen in a prokaryotic cell? A typical prokaryotic cell might contain the following parts. Cell wall. Cell wall is given for extra protection in prokaryotic cell. In bacteria, we know that peptidoglycan, that is the material which is used to make the cell wall, peptidoglycans. Here you can see the cell wall. As in case of a plant cell, cell wall can be seen in bacterial cell also. Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the jelly-like structure that can be seen inside a cell. Here also in prokaryotic cell also you can find the cytoplasm where all other materials can be seen embedded on it. Flagella and pili, protein-based filaments found on the outside of some prokaryotes. You can see flagella and pili here. Actually, this structure flagella that can be used for locomotion purpose, and pilus are the, you can see the pilus structure all around the body. Some hair-like structures can be seen. That is what we call the pilus or pili. These help it from without being going for this engulfing by some other animals or some other species. They will not be eaten up by some other higher order species. Pilus help for them. Next one, nucleoid, a nuclear-like structure or region of the cell where genetic material is kept. Nucleoid is that particular structure where the genetic material, the piece of DNA can be seen. That particular portion is known as nucleoid. And plasmid, a small molecule of DNA that can reproduce independently. The piece of nucleus, the piece of DNA in circular form, that is called plasmid. This is the small molecule of DNA that can reproduce independently. So in the nucleoid region, we can find small DNA pieces. That DNA pieces are called plasmid. Now, eukaryotes. Eukaryotes possess a membrane-bound nucleus. That is, nuclear membrane can be seen. The nucleus is well structured with a nuclear membrane, and inside the nucleus you can see nucleoplasm, chromatin threads or chromosomes, and the nucleolus also. In this way, once we get a well definite structure of the nucleus, we can be considered as it as a eukaryotic cell. DNA is in the form of chromosomes. Membrane bound organelles can be seen. You can see membrane bound. The nucleus itself is membrane bound. You can see other membrane bound structures like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, all can be seen inside eukaryotic cells. Example: animal cells, plant cells, fungus cells, all are examples of eukaryotic cells. Now, we can just compare or write the differences between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Cell size, it ranges in size from 0.0 micrometer to 2 micrometer in diameter. Size of eukaryotic cells ranges from 10 to 100. You can see the difference between eukaryotic cell and prokaryotic cell in its size. And once we talk about prokaryotic cell, number of cells, they are always unicellular, and eukaryotic cell unicellular and multicellular. Both unicellular and multicellular are eukaryotic cells. Cell wall usually present in prokaryotes, chemically complex in nature. But in eukaryotic cells, if they are present just like plant cells or in fungus and all, the cell wall is present but chemically simple in nature. Now, nucleus. Prokaryotic cell, there are a well-defined, well-structured nucleus is absent, but instead they have a nucleoid region, that is strands of DNA can be found out, that is nucleoid. And in the case of eukaryotes, well-structured nucleus is present. DNA arrangement. Prokaryotes, you can see circular DNA or loop-like structure or strands, threads can be seen. But in case of eukaryotes, you can see linear arrangement of the DNA. Cytoplasm present but cell organelles are absent. In case of eukaryotes, cytoplasm is present as well as all the cell organelles are present. Reproduction. In prokaryotes, the reproduction takes place through asexual methods, and in eukaryotes, the reproduction takes place both through asexual and sexual methods. Examples for prokaryotes: bacteria and archaea group. An example for eukaryotes: plant, animal cells. Here you can see the direct diagrams which shows a prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells.